Hey there everyone, this is Hotform here. Today we're going to be watching some 2 versus 2s that I played on my Restoration Druid, and I'm going to be playing with an Arms Warrior today, so it's a fairly cookie cutter comp. It's a healer warrior. You'll notice I'm playing with the Revitalize, or Empowered Touchback, sorry, which means that whenever you cast a direct heal, like Regrowth, your Life Bloom stacks are going to reset. I notice most druids don't do this at high ratings, and I don't know why. And then every druid I talk to points to the high rated druids, and they go, "Oh, they don't take it. It's obviously not the best spec." But I mean, having your life blooms roll automatically, you always want them rolling in PvP because the longer they're rolling, I mean, if you get CC'd or something, then it's still rolling for you, and it just saves you globals. You're going to be direct healing anyway, so it saves you a lot of time, and I mean, you need that time so you can get more CC off. I find it immensely useful, and I suggest you try it out as well. So in this first match here, we're going to be playing against a warrior and a holy paladin. Holy paladin Hodge is my warrior off the start. I normally like to go over and pounce the paladin, but because I know my warrior's going to lose the little melee battle there, I'm just going to come out. It looks like I do get caught by the warrior though. I'm just trying to line of sight the warrior. He looks like he's on me, but I still have my hots rolling on my warrior as well. We generally just sit on the warrior and try to CC the holy paladin and land a kill. So the warrior's on me. Where can I go to make sure the warrior's not on me? Because I don't want him on me. I can go behind the pole. He can't go line of sight of his paladin. Although in this case he chooses to. He actually gets bashed by me behind there, and I get to come around and catch the paladin with a cyclone as he's coming up. War Stomp, finish the kill. The paladin needed to trinket that cyclone right away because the warrior was obviously in a bad position. And that's exactly what I mean when I say if you want to get away from the DPS, then you line of sight them from their healer. That warrior didn't follow my advice and stay with his healer. Instead, he tried to follow me around line of sight, and that ended up being his death because I bashed him and then my warrior popped his cooldowns into him. The paladin probably could have saved him if he trinketed my cyclone right away and then bubbled the warrior fear that was going to follow. But he didn't end up doing that, so we got a quick kill. As we come into this next match here, it's going to be a Hunter and a Feral Druid, so this team has a lot of CC. I'm just going to look to keep Hots rolling on my Warrior, nothing too fancy. I'll try to get a Hibernate on the Feral Druid because Feral Druids get destroyed by Hibernate. I mean, as a Restoration Druid, you have 3 different types of CCs that can stick on a Feral Druid, so it's easily your best target to CC. But in this case, I'm just trying to top Hots on my Warrior. You notice I immuned some of the Hunter's shots when I got Cycloned. I feel like they miscommunicated and tried to scatter me while I was Cycloned, so I got to dodge that trap, which is rather handy. I like to put Fairy Fire on the Druid. In this case, it looks like I'm not doing that. Hopefully I get that up eventually, but I'm just CCing him right now. My Warrior's putting a lot of hurt into the Hunter, and a team like this, where they don't have a lot of sustain, your goal is just to keep Hots up. So you notice like there wasn't a ridiculous amount of pressure, but I'm still going to pop Tree right away because I know the fight's going to be over by the time my tree's done, so there's no reason to think that I need to save my cooldowns when I don't need to. And my warrior spell reflects a nice cyclone from the druid at the end there just to look fancy. So I mean, that's a quick win, and it's just when you're facing a double DPS that you realize has no way to live for more than 35 seconds, just pop your tree as soon as you can. It just makes you more powerful, it makes your life easier, and if your DPS sees that their health is at full, that's going to cause them to do a lot more damage. I guarantee any DPS you're healing, if you can keep their health at full, they will always do more damage because they're not scared at all. As we come into this next arena here, it looks like it's going to be 2 Retribution Paladins. So I could go in and try to open on them close, but it's pretty clear that a team like this is going to want to go for the healer. They're not going to kill my warrior too well. They do have some CC, I guess, but I expect them to go for me, so I'm just going to open up at a distance here. You notice I always Swift Mend early. It's by far your best heal. Just you want to use that on cooldown, really. There's no point where you think like you need to save Swift Mend. Anytime you need to use Swift Mend, you should use Swift Mend. So I get Hodged here. I'm going to Trinket that. I Anti-Cyclone the Paladin because I know I'm going to need to be able to get some CC on him later if I'm going to survive. Tree form here. I feel like I have my Bark Skin up at about the right time. Might have been a little too early though because both hadn't connected on me yet. But I can instant root now while I'm in tree, so hopefully once I get some hots rolling on myself, I can properly start to kite these guys. Although it doesn't look like they're doing much damage, there's not a huge amount I have to do. I'm going to War Stomp and Cyclone the guy that already trinketed just to give me some more time. I can Cyclone him again now too. I mean, I've got some space at this point. It looks like the other one's switching to my warrior, but they're struggling a fair amount. They do have a lot of off heals, a team like this, but if you can keep one of them controlled, then the other one will melt away. And it looks like my warrior did a pretty efficient job of finishing him off as well. Coming into the next arena here, I'll tell you at the start we're going to be facing a Feral Druid and a Mage, but of course we don't know that yet, so just going to have to look around for a bit. I always like to check the starting zone when you can't see anything, because sometimes, you know, there's somebody shadow melded, or it's a hunter in camouflage and you just didn't notice, but I always like to head over there when I can. It also generally puts me in a place where people don't expect you to be as the healer, so... See, the mage is on the other side of the bridge. Sorry, he expects me to be over there, and I'm not, so I get a lot of free time at this point. I get some nice backpedaling from the Feral Druid there. I don't know exactly what my warrior's doing at this point, but his bleeds are wearing off, and I mean, I've got him healed just fine by the looks of it. I'm just using my Swift Mend. I used it right at the start. Looks like I'm actually saving it now, but the Druid's trying to re-stealth. He gets pulled out again by my warrior. It looks like my warrior's going for the Feral Druid. It's probably the better choice, but I mean, both team members will live a long time against a warrior in this situation, so I'm looking at a bit of a longer haul, but after the fight goes a bit farther in, you can expect that things are going to get easier. Once the Druid's Berserk is down, once he's trying to play defensive, once the Mage is starting to peel for him. It looks like I'm going to get Sheep Deer. I still do have my Trinket up. I already used Tree, so I can't get out of this without Trinket, but I mean, my warrior's got 2 Life Blooms and a Rejuve. He's at full health, so there's no way I'm going to have to Trinket that. There's a lot of times against a team like this where you just have to make the judgment call of, oh, alright, I have enough HOTS running already, so let's do what I can and just wait in the CC. I'm trying to keep some Dispels on my warrior here to keep him moving freely. The Druids run away up top, but see, at this point now, their offensive cooldowns are relatively down. The Druid's trying to heal. He probably will get a re-stealth and they'll get to do it once again, but I'm gaining the advantage here because healing will get easier as they run out of cooldowns, whereas doing damage will get harder. I obviously use some cooldowns too, right? Like I use Tree, but you're kind of expected to use that. A rebuff of Mark of the Wild would be good. It looks like the mage has been spell stealing a fair amount, but I think I do forget that for the course of this arena, so that's unfortunate. 5% is definitely something you should always remember to keep on you, and it's an extra debuff to get in the way. The Druid's in Bear right now, so I'm not too worried. I'm just going to keep HOTS rolling on myself and line of sight the mage. I'm watching the mage's target so that I know who he's attacking, who he's CCing, and since he's attacking me, I'm not going to be too worried. I'm just going to run around the pole, and there's no way a mage can kill a Restoration Druid on his own, really. It looks like my warrior's putting a fair amount of damage into the Feral Druid, and he does manage to take him down. So that's another nice win for us, and I guess we get to clean up the mage and move forward. Coming into the final arena of the day here, it looks like we're going to be facing a Frost Mage and a Shadow Priest. So I'm just going to give my warrior some HOTS off the start here, just make sure that he's okay, because this is a team with a lot of burst. They will live for longer than your average double DPS because they have someone that can heal fairly well, and then the mage can top himself as well. It looks like my warrior's going for the mage at the start here. I'm not sure if I agree with that strategy. I feel like the Shadow Priest would probably be easier, but the mage would put up a fair amount of CC, and going on the mage is going to limit his damage by more than going on the Shadow Priest. Looks like we got an ice block out of the mage already though, so things are going pretty well for us. The priest is trying to do his damage, but really he needs to get over and CC me a little, otherwise they're going to have trouble lining things up. Although I imagine they're just kind of waiting for their opportunity at this point. My warrior keeps getting stuck in Novas and stuff. It's good to try to dispel them when there's only one debuff, but like right now, you know, he's got 3 or 4 magic things. That would take me way too much time, and it would just make me fall behind on healing. So sometimes you have to let your DPS sit in things. It's your call to make as the healer when you want to dispel something. And if he has too much magic and it's more important just to heal him, he will always, or well, your DPS, will always appreciate being at full health over free movement. Free movement and 20% health is going to make them scared and poop their pants. Whereas if they're at full health, then it doesn't matter how long they sit and stuff, you're going to win the battle. So just try to keep, you know, obviously try to keep them at full health, you're the healer. But that's kind of hard to do when you're trying to balance CC and stuff like this. We can see the mage just counterspelled me though, so that means I'll probably get some free casts off here. I am just keeping my warrior top though, because as long as he's okay, we're gonna win. I mean, I don't have to do a huge amount of CC. I'll like CC the Shadow Priest there, for example, when the opportunity arises, but I'm not working too hard to make that happen. I'm working hard to keep my DPS, well, us in total, they haven't attacked me yet, but they could, at full health, and just be wary of any switches or any pressure that they're trying to line up. As long as I can see what they're trying to do, like right now the mage is trying to run away, priest is dispersing, so I don't have to put a lot of heals into him. That one rejuve on the warrior is going to keep him okay, and that gives me time to CC them and line up more stuff. My warrior is chasing down the mage at this point. He is getting fairly low. I script Dispel there. I would highly suggest a Dispel macro for me. I generally like to have one just dedicated to whatever my teammate is, but sometimes I do 2 vs 2s ad hoc, and then you don't have a macro made up. You can see my warrior is feeling the frustration after that life grip on top of the bridge. These guys have been running away fairly successfully, but the lowest they've ever got him at this point is about 80k health, so they have a fair amount of work still to go. They're dispelling my pots fairly hard, but I always do try to just keep them rolling. Remember that while they're dispelling, Life Bloom does have that anti-dispel mechanic. It's generally not enough to keep someone alive. So if they are dispelling your life blooms, you are going to have to direct cast or something if they're putting damage into them as well. Just spamming life blooms and having them dispelled is actually a fairly minor amount of healing on its own. They're trying to CC me still. I'm just switching into travel form, trying to line of sight the mage because he's the only one that can CC me after the priest just used his fear. So you always just try to keep an eye on who you're trying to avoid at what time, and then as long as you can do that, then you should be okay for healing, especially at this point when they've started to run out of cooldowns. But a team like this is fairly sustainable. They can both do CC quite a bit. It looks like my warrior, though, is going to manage to take down the priest finally, so that works out pretty nicely for us. I hope you guys enjoyed the video for today, and I will see you next time.